Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Lines Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Roxas map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off for Team 1 on the northeastern half of the map, ending with Team 2 on the southwestern side of the map. Starting off with Team 1's isolated player to the north in royal blue, we have Orb going first land as a UEF. He is a 23-4300 rated, not 100, but 23-43 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 1 and in the game overall. And to his each, the other blue player on Team 1 on blue team is Lexicon going first land as a Seraphim in Stitch Blue as a 1668 rated. Last but not least, for Team 1 in Amethyst Purple is Book of Guns going first land as a UEF. He is a 1312 rated player, and I will most likely call him Box of Guns at some point. That's what I initially called him as for I think a couple of casts, and then I read his name again and went, oh, it's Book of Guns, isn't it? I think maybe somebody commented in one of those videos like, yeah, that's actually book, not box. But anyway, for Team 1 side of the map, there are 2 UEF and 1 Seraphim, which means Team 1 lacks Cybern and Aeon technology. Starting up for Team 2's isolated player in the south in Chevy Crimson is Blind Chill going first land, Blind Chick going first land as an Aeon. He is a 1653 rated player, the highest rated player on his team. For Team 2, he's going land and air in that position. To his west, we have in Ruby Red the Cybern player of Colonel Kenny Lee going first land, secondary in Ruby Red. He is a 1768 rated player. And next door to him, we have in Orange the color orange, Team 2 Space _ going first, land, second, air as a UEF. He is a 1572 rated player. So for Team 2 side of the map, they're going with one of each of the classics, meaning the UEF, the Cybern, and the Aeon, which means Team 2 lacks Seraphim technology. And again, as a reminder, Team 1 lacks lacks Aeon and Cybern technology. And for 6 players on the map, let's take a look at how much reclaim they have left to scoop up. I will slow down because there is some rating going down in the south here from Team 1. And for both teams to scoop up, they only have about 4,000 mass left remaining. There could have been a little bit more mass. It looks like kind of around the cliff edges, but probably about maybe 4,500, maybe 5,000 max, maybe. So we'll probably call about 4,800, so I can do the math a lot easier in my head. But 800 mass per player, not a lot. But what they definitely lack in reclaim, they make up for in mass points. I mean, just talking about Team 2's isolated player, for example, he has 2 5-star mech positions just a stone's throw away from his main base. There is another 5-star mech here positioned right next to the Ruby Red player of Kenny Lee, and pretty much that's about it. It looks like this map could be one of those 3v3v3v3 maps, or even just a 6v6 map, because it looks like this is a player position, this is a player position, and that's a player position just due to the fact that there is a 5-star mechs in each of the main bases. That looks like that's the case. Looks like the players wanted a little bit more mass to themselves in this one and not have a bunch of other players just hoarding it for them. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and see where our players are off to. There was a little bit of rating, like I said, down in the south here from Team 1's Book of Guns. And we do see that this 5-star mech has actually been gifted over to space. So every player on Team 2 has 2 5-star mech positions, 1 in their main base and 1 outside of their main base. So that's definitely friendly here from Blind Chick. He can easily have just kept that mass for himself, but he wanted to share the love with his teammate that did not get that 5-star mechs there. Love to see it. And not coincidentally, but on the opposite side of things, we do see that Orb still has his set of mechs. There's a couple of mechs over here for Book of Guns, and it looks like Book of Guns and his teammate of Lexicon 7 has also kind of shared this 5-star mechs position as well. Combat has started on the ground here between units in the west for Orb and Team 2's Colonel Kenny Lee. They are pushing on that western edge, trying to distract Team 2. We do see that Colonel Kenny Lee is pushing into Orb's position, and Orb is just going to fall back. He is has a bit of an advantage being a UEF with 2,000 more additional hit points on board his commander. So that fight will go in Team 1's Orb direction. And like I said, Kenny Lee is just pressing the attack. And unfortunately, that puts him very far away from any sort of reinforcements from either himself or his his team, which means if he starts getting attacked quite heavily, he's going to just be killed off because of that. We do see that there's, again, attacks out on the eastern edge here from Blinchick, and we do see that he got those mexes back from space underscore, so I don't really know what's going on with that. So maybe he just wanted these ones and then just kind of gave those back to him. I don't really know. No idea. Maybe because he is the isolated player, he needs a little bit more assistance because technically he is facing 2 commanders. So it's a 2v1 on the eastern side here in favor of Team 2. And on the western side of here, it is a 2v1 in favor of Team... I said Team 1, right, for this. Team 1, 2v1. Team 2, 2v1. You see Orb is going for a gun upgrade as we speak. Colonel Cornelia looks like he might have tried to engage the commander and thought a little bit better of it. There's 1 PD to protect him. And we do see these forces here outbound from Colonel Lee coming in to assist the western defenses. Space continuing to move in. A couple of mexes were raided, unfortunately, here for Team 2, so they're going to have to send more engineers out to repair and reconstruct those. In the middle of the map, though, Team 2's orange to color orange player of space underscore has this nice little lower plateau or lower section of the map. There is no way to it unless you either distance build or transport units down there, which means that he just has it under his control. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things where it's not a lot of territory. And yeah, it's nice to have a radar in the middle of the map, but it could easily just be shot at by artillery or missiles very, very easily. I mean, you could probably put a couple of, flapjacks or something over here, and they could easily be in range to go after that radar system. But, for the early game, it is really nice to have that. T2 is online here for Lexicon in the east, and Blinchill. I always want to say Blinchill, but it's a K at the end of his name. So Blinchick is going for range as we speak. Most likely we'll go for, speed next. We do see a couple of units get behind the comm of Kenny Lee, but those are dealt with by that comm himself very easily. It does look like there is a split attack here on the western side here for Colonel Kenny Lee as well, going most of his forces down the western edge and then sending a couple in straight down the middle. T2 is online for the isolated players both in the north and in the south. T2 also online for the air player of Book of Guns, and we do see that T2 Air has not been started as event for anybody on Team 2, which might give Team 1 an advantage in the air game. But again, it's a really early game, about 8.5 minutes, almost 9 minutes on the clock, so it's going to be a little bit of time before we really see the effects of if going for air first was the better idea. We don't see a T2 land facility online as of yet here for Team 1's Lexicon, but it looks like he might be going for it here pretty shortly. And he does have an air facility. I don't see T2 upgrade as of yet. So maybe he'll go for it in a couple of minutes. Maybe he's just focusing more on ecoing up a little bit more because he doesn't have a lot of mexes on this side of the map, so he might just be kind of waiting to get a little bit more mass in his bar to go for that upgrade. We have some Mongoose online here for Orb. Definitely a good ranged unit. Doesn't have a lot of hit points on board, but what they lack in hit points, they make up for in range, and that's the Aurora mindset for T1 Aeon players. It's the exact same thing. Just Mongoose has a grenade launcher on, which is kind of nice to have. It's not the best grenade launcher, but it's something. It's better than nothing. We do see some pillars intermixing there as well, so offsetting the lack of hit points for Orb's forces. There is a nice little T1 Medusa going after a mechs up here. We do see a little mole up there to the north gets bombarded by some Scorchers. And of course there is some more Scorchers outbound from the middle. T2 tactical missile launcher is online for Orb, but it's not going to be probably surviving for very much longer. Team 2 has spotted it. And I'm assuming TMD is going to be built here very shortly. Gun speed range has been started for Kenny Lee's commander. Again, gun is on board. Orb's commander. Advanced range on board. Blinchick's commander in the northern side of his base. And gun damage range has been started for Book of Guns in the east as well. So pretty much everybody in the game is going for gun upgrades except for Lexicon and Space. We might see them both go for gun at some point. But missile is outbound. Was TMD built fast enough? It was. Great job here by Colonel Kenny Lee for responding to that very, very promptly. There are some missiles going after those TMLs right there, and it will strike it. It's going to be a couple more missiles before it's able to take out the structure. And there is some T1AA being built to try to protect it against some bombers. There is going to be a transport laden with a couple of pillars on board. So it looks like that might actually get shot down. Definitely unfortunate here for Team 2 space. And there are some units outbound dealing with those missile launchers here in that group from Team 2's Colonel Kennedy. Looks like they were having a hug or some strategy session a couple seconds ago. Kind of hanging out next to one another over there. It looks like he's going to shift and go after these units outbound from Orb, which have somehow gone all the way east and now all the way south and east and then west. T2 gunship online here for Blinchik. Going to go after those units very, very easily and quickly and save a couple of mexes in the process for his teammates. He has T2 air online as well. So Team 1 has one player going for air. Team 2 has also one player going for air as of right now. I'm kind of surprised not seeing any T2 air facility up here to the north for Orb, but maybe he's, again, focused more on the land side of things more than anything else. He is going to send his commander in against a commander with gun on board, and with no gun on board, he's just going to walk forward and call it a day. At least as of right now. There's a missile launcher online, just peppering his commander, or at least his position. Looks like Orb is actually going to just retreat at the current moment. Don't know why he sent this comment and then just going to send it back for pretty much no reason. Don't really understand that, but maybe he has something that idea that I don't. Wall sections being built here by all these engineers to cut off avenues of attack here for Team 1's Book of Guns. He wants to essentially prevent his opponent. This is a Blinchik from getting anywhere near his structures or forces, whatever the case may be, essentially forcing the land incursion, the land battle to be here in this kind of narrow neck with this decent sized mountain in the way. So essentially you're going to have a small kind of force going to the west, but it's going to be a pathfinding nightmare, and he's going to build more Team 1 land facilities to make it a little bit more of a pathfinding nightmare for his opponents to move in unless he destroys those first. We do see that Orb is being pushed back by Kenny Lee as well over to the west. There's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of walking back and forth, but at the same time, we do see that Orb's forces getting into the expansion mech slot here for Team 2's Kenny Lee. One mech does go down. That's 6 mass a second. A second one is going to go down before the PD and gunship's going to kill it off. And there it goes. That's 12 mass a second that Team 2's Colonel Kenny Lee is losing. And it's not a lot of mass, but it makes a difference, especially when your team is behind in total at almost 300 mass income for Team 1, and Team 2 is at 250. So about 50 mass differential. Not a huge difference at 13.5 minutes, but again, it does make a difference as time goes on. If that gap does widen or narrow, we do see that shield is coming online here for Blinchik. He is going to just shove his commander forward, and Lexicon is going for gun. We do see some Swift Winds online to deal with the rest of the interceptors here for Book of Guns. We do see a Strap Bomber online here for him as well. He has T3 air online. It will be spotted. And as long as he can get that out of range of those interceptors and Swift Winds, he's going to be able to pay that off quite easily. AA has been spammed up, and that Ambassador is not going to get any work done. Unfortunately, maybe he'll get one bomb dropped, but that is it. Those Swift Winds are able to catch up to it. And it's dropping hit points. Is it going to grab a T2 Mechs fully ringed? Yes, it does. That's 9 mass a second. Unfortunately, he only kills off, 239. Obviously, some of those wrecks do get vaporized, but of course, 1,100 mass remains. So mass efficiency not in favor of Team 1, but of course, Team 2 does lose 9 mass a second. That gap is narrowing ever so slightly. Missile. Don't know what that was about. Do you see that Orb going after these units that kind of went through this eastern side of this little mountain? Kind of, again, same thing down here in the southeast, same kind of scenario, but not a lot of forces being built up here for these players in the west. It's mainly just the eastern players, that being Book of Guns. Actually, Book of Guns is really building a lot of land forces as well, just banning his teammate of Lexicon, who has T3 land online. Their direct opponent of Blinchik does have 2 T2 air headquarters online, and they do have a T3 land headquarters as well, so pumping out gunships. Looks like transports and then going to ferry those across the map is the idea. Again, he is missing out on T3 air technology, but he's doing pretty well considering also his teammate also has T3 air technology. So, it's nice to have. I mean, when you're going that many T2 air headquarters, you might as well just make one a T3 at that point, but he's probably just trying to spam out those Swift Winds and gunships and those transports. Everything is kind of quieted down on the western side here for both teams, and reinforcements are actually being sent by Lexicon to shore up Orb's defenses. And Orb kind of very bare bones. He's going for shield at the current moment. He's not building more than he realistically needs. At least at the current moment, a couple of units sitting here, hanging out here for Colonel Kenny Lee. And I hear some shots somewhere. It sounds like a Titan firing, but or an Ilshi, one or the other. Maybe it's an Ilshi going after the engineers down there. Oh yeah, that's what I heard, was the Ilshi going after those engineers in the middle. T2 is coming online here for Lexicon. He's going to probably build a PD wall to protect his mass extractors and, of course, prevent any sort of incursion by Blinchik. It doesn't look like he's going to engage at the current moment. He was. Got to think about it for a second and then stopped. I do like the placement of the radar system right behind this decently sized mountain, so it protects it against any sort of attacks from the northeast. Obviously, no protection either this way, or obviously this way. But at least it protects it from at least a nice, I'd say 65, maybe 90 almost degree angle, but I'm saying close to 90, but probably not exactly 90. Maybe it is, I don't know. Hard to do math like that on the fly. I mean, it's probably a little more than 90 to be fair, as I keep thinking about it. Anyway, as I ramble, we do see that Colonel Kenny Lee is going for a stealth upgrade on board that commander, and he's a little bit over a quarter of the way done with that, or at least pretty much. Shield is halfway done here for Orb, and we do see that those T3 Harbingers have been dropped off by that Illuminar, unless there's no way he walked by. They had to have been dropped by. I don't see the transport anywhere. Looks like it just got out of Dodge. But those Harbingers have killed off a couple of mass storages, not a T3 Mechs or T2 Mechs as of yet. There are T1 Thams in ill. She's moving in to intercept Strap Bomber over here as well, trying to deal with them. Harbingers being very, very annoying here for Lexicon and for Book of Guns by dodging the entire time. T3 Lightning Tank is online, gonna shoot that Harbinger in the face. Couple more Lightning Tanks moving into range. The Ilshi now in range. And one T2 Mechs has come offline and one mass storage comes offline, which means he loses 3 mass a second plus an additional 9. So 12 mass a second in total is lost here for Team 1's Lexicon. Definitely not a huge amount of mass, but again, it does make a difference, especially with his team being a little bit farther, or not farther, but a little bit ahead in the mass generation at 410. It was about 50. Now it's only about 10 to 15. The Team 2 has equaled a little bit more in the interim. Last time I checked on the mass incomes. Lots of radar systems around the map here for both teams. We see 3 systems online in the east for Lexicon, 2 of them T2. And we do see, again, a similar thing in the western side here where Blinchik has 4 radar systems, 1 of them T2, and the other ones are T1s. Again, they provide a little bit of kind of an early warning system, as it may be, just in case he's not paying attention. Especially if you have a UI mod that like modifies the way they look, especially with these white borders, it makes it a lot easier to be like, that white border's gone. Oh, they're coming my way. That's not annoying. We do see that Orb's forces are actually just ignoring the dual comms of both Space and Colonel Kenny Lee. Looks like he's mounting some sort of just, flank attack, trying to pull back Blinchik's forces. This does one of 2 things. It either forces Blinchik to move his forces over, allowing his teammate Lexicon to move in, or he's just going to pull them over anyways and just go psych, going to go west anyways. It's a nice little fade and then hit, depending on if he wants to go east or west. Looks like he might just go west. There are a couple of Percys in the mix here for Orb as well, and they could easily have one tapped. Possibly Space's commander. There's now a brick online, and we do see that Orb is moving in. Actually, PD creeping along the way as well. Not really PD creeping. He's just putting a radar system online. Nano repair has been started. Not the best place to sit there, Kenny Lee, especially with a force right off your doorstep. T1 Max goes offline, and this is what Team 1 can see. They know where the comm is. They know what's happening. Brick is inbound. Orb, what do you see? Orb does not. Oh, actually, Orb does know the brick is there. And he's continuing the pressure in. Of course, he does have the overcharge on board, so he's pretty close to probably one-tapping it at this point. Let's see. He's going to one-tap that Zapper TMD very quickly. Actually, no, he doesn't. Doesn't actually one-tap as much as he thought. How much e-storage do you have? 94,000. This should be enough. And Orb is walking forward with the shield. There are 2 bricks and, of course, PD and Colonel Kenny Lee. It does get one tap. Never mind. I just underestimated the value, the amount of damage that he did on that one Zapper. Second brick is down. Orb will sit at 3-star veterancy. Now going after Kenny Lee's commander. I don't think it'll be a murder-suicide situation. There are Percys inbound. Colonel Kenny Lee has fallen into this low reds, and there goes him. He is gone. Team 2 Space is under threat here if this force continues to push. Team 2's western flank is going to be demolished and annihilated of commanders. We see that all over those forces inbound here that Blinchick was sitting on just sends them in. And this might, again, prompt Lexicon to move in. Looks like he's going to inch a little bit forward and gain probably a little bit more ground. Of course, everything transferred over to space since he's nearby. Orb getting a nice fire base essentially on the old doorstep that once belonged to Kenny Lee. And T2 Mechs is coming offline here, and probably T3's in the mix as well. I didn't notice that at the moment of impact of the explosion. T3 land headquarters is going to go down here for Team 2 space. And possibly they'll lose access to cyber technology unless some engineers were saved at some moment. If all your facilities go down and your factories go down, if the cyber comm is dead, that's no cyber technology anymore here. Shield is online. Second one going to be online as well. He is in the yellow. Has to be very careful. He's just building PD. These forces moving in to intercept any sort of advance that Orb could have, but we have a couple of options moving in here. Not necessarily donated by Lexicon, but he's moved them in. T3 Mechs is coming offline here for space. Team 2 is losing eco 200 mass a second. Now separates the teams here at 21 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. We do see that Blinchick is just going to be forced back by the slow creep of Lexicon forces in the east, and Orb continues to just cut off any sort of reinforcements to this frontline position, with more forces coming barreling down from the north against this PD base that has risen up. Orb is just going to sit here, like I said, and just hang out. Going to get a nice little T2 Max, going to get some more PD. That attack outbound, possibly outbound from Blinchick, will not engage. He's kind of worried about losing all of his forces. There are a decent amount of broadswords nearby, and if Orb doesn't have enough AA defenses, he only has one T2 AA. This could just be an easy one-tap on that commander. The ASFs from Team 2's Book of Guns are sitting waiting to respond. It was just a matter of time before one thing happens or the other. ASFs, of course, waiting to get the go-ahead to move in. And that PD line will hold, but the engineers are down, which means there's no sort of recovery here for that position. Engineers actually reclaiming the base, going after the bricks first. There is a little bit of counter PD creep going down here for Team 2 space. He has some Ravagers being built to try to force out Orb. Orb going to go for some artillery at this point. And Orb just going to say hi and just kind of just sit there on the doorstep of Team 2. We do see a nice little just punching through the wall here from Team 1's Lexicon 7 moving in. It looks like a bunch of PD are going to be built here. Actually, those are volcanoes, excuse me, just to defend against any sort of missile launcher attack. A little bit of units on that little avenue of attack, a little lower section, but the main force is up here. And all those forces that were starting to pressure Orb have been forced to fall back. So this nice little fade and hit, and another kind of a nice attack as well in the east. Great tactics here by Team 1. Done a great job. They've killed off a commander at 23.5 minutes. Let's take a look at the game overall. Team 1, 3 players left. Team 2, 2 players left. Team 2 has lost Colonel Kenny Lee due to just a frontal assault by Orb's commander. He's currently holding position. Looks like he is going to fall back. That PD and shield base is going to fall. That fire base is going to fall, unfortunately, for him. Oh, no. Looks like he might stay there. But again, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to this point in the video. Hopefully, you'll ignore my mistakes and at least point them out to me. At least that way I can learn and do better from them. But again, thank you so much for watching at this point. And then, of course, I encourage every single one of you to watch till the end. We do see Lexicon going for T3 Engineering Suite on board that commander behind the wall section. And Orb is being flooded with broadswords. ASFs in from Book of Guns. Moving into assist. Orb is almost back in the green. Has a little bit more AA presence now. And those gunships are dealt with. The ASFs looks like they also went into engage. And Team 2 has a little bit of air control. There's not really a lot of ASFs between both of these teams anyways. But it definitely does favor Team 1 ever so slightly. I'd say it's probably about 25 to 10 maybe. 32. Not super far off. And 15. Yeah, I wasn't too far off with my rough estimate. Do you see the comm of Orb has fallen back ever so slightly once more. The Ravagers are just too much. He didn't build his own Ravagers, so that will force him back. It was a great attempt, though. He sat there. He's gained a lot of just not passive income, but he's been able to gain a lot of just peace on his northern side of the map, getting his T3 mexes online, getting all of his upgrades, getting, you know, his eco decently scaled. He's sitting at 287, almost 300 mass income. His team in a Book of Guns has done a very good job and really scaled his eco, considering he doesn't have as many mexes as his teammate does. And he's sitting at 318. I feel like Orb might be... No, yeah, he's fine on power. Oh, maybe not. Looks like Lexicon is suffering in the power department as well. So he's going to have to fix that hit pretty shortly. But Team 2's Blindchick is sitting at almost 500 mass income. But Team 1 overall is sitting at least 150 mass per second more. It was 200. It's back up to 150. But that is a huge difference. It'll be down at 25.5 minutes. Team 2, how are you going to counter this attack from Team 1? We see some P-gens being established at both T2 and T3 to, again, looks like fix the power situations. At least give a little bit more of a bonus and reduce the cost of that shield emitter by a decent margin. T3 air is online here for Blindchick. Looks like he got rid of his other T2 air headquarters. And it has a Colossus online, first one of the game in terms of experimental and Colossus. Chicken is being established in the east here by Lexicon. And air grid has been expanded quite nicely here so far for Book of Guns north of him. We haven't seen any effort for him to go for ASF or just gunship production here for Orb, except he has built a FAF boy and is building the UEF main, one of their main strats, which is the satellite, which is the Novak satellite. Love to see it. Again, love to see space lasers just incinerate and glass everything on the surface, but I mean, 27 minutes is pretty early for a Novax. Usually it's only about 35, 40 minutes is really where you see one built. But with the Fat Boy online in the west, this is really going to put a hamper on Space's forces. It looks like Orb's strategy, again, and it would make sense that he just cuts off any sort of reinforcements for his direct opponent or direct opposite of Blindchick in the south, essentially force him to be all alone. And that's what his focus is on right now. Looks like the Percys are moving in. He's actually just going to send them in. Very interestingly, not going after the PD base. Don't blame him. There's a lot of Ravagers, a couple of shields as well. Those Percys would take heavy losses before they even got anywhere close to taking out those weapons. We do see that the Colossus is going to head this army and just going to be sent in. And Lexicon's like, nope, see ya, bye. Not dealing with that. Chicken is almost online. Once that's done, which it should be done barely in enough time. It is in the green. It's going up decently quick. He should be fine to be able to deal with any sort of nonsense that will happen with this Colossus. He's sending all of his units in to buy him time. And he's doing a great job of it so far. Optims are targeting that Colossus, and the gunships are moving in, targeting all the AA first. Love to see that, going after the T3s and then the T2. I don't know if there's an actual, like, should you go after the T2 flak or the T3 AA first? I mean, with there being T3 gunships, I don't know. I feel like the flak's maybe a little bit more impactful, but I don't know if it's better one way or the other. Somebody will have to let me know down in the comments if you would be so kind to let me know if it would be better to take out the T3 AA or the T2 flag first when you have T3 gunships. ASF sit right behind the main land force, but it looks like they're not going to engage. ASF were waiting for them. It looks like they might just be sent in. They're going to hold back. Chicken is online. Lexicon's like, move out of the way. There's a Colossus with a giant eye laser moving in. PD is falling. Colossus falling into the yellow. About 50% of its hit points remain. ASF's come to shield both the gunships and the bombers, and the Chicken is now in range. There goes the Galactic Colossus. It's not gonna make it, unfortunately. Chicken will be finding lots of T1 mobile artillery here in the mix. These fervors, a couple of blazes and a couple of harbingers as well, but most of the forces have been dealt with. Gunships also a line here for Lexicon to assist from the air. And that's going to be about it for this attack. Lexicon's like, oh, this is enough. I'm going to overcharge and deal with that. Why is this comp facing the opposite direction of the enemy units? That was weird. Don't know why it was looking this way and it was walking this way and the units were coming in from that way. No idea why that was happening. Shift over to the western side here for Team 1's Orb, just slowly peppering that defensive line. I don't see a lot of AA built over here. There's a T3 AA SAM launcher over here protecting that Fat Boy from just a couple of gunships. But they're building up to go after an assassination mission on that Fat Boy. First satellite is online. He's going to go for Nuke. So he's going to go for Nuke before 30 minutes. Satellite is done before 30 minutes. And Team 2 is being attacked in the south there by those Percys. They do make it to the main base. Blinchick is going to hide behind his Colossus. Colossus is going to be more than enough to deal with this. Percys do kill off, I think, a T3 Mechs. They're trying to go after another T3 Mechs. Again, that's 27 mass a second that Blinchick is losing. And Team 1 is sitting at about 250 mass more per second than their opponents, which is a decent amount of mass. And gunship raid in the east here by Book of Guns going after all of the AA first. Team 1 AA being spammed up as quickly as it can be to just do some damage to those AA emplacements, and more of them trying to be built to act as a deterrence. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. Those gunships will make it out of range, at least some of them will. And the eastern side is looking weaker and weaker. Looks like the wall sections were control K. Looks like there's going to be attack on the ground here pretty shortly. But this emplacement has been built up with some PD, so that's not really going to work with just a couple of T3 units. Nuke is also online for Book of Guns, so both of the UE players on Team 1 have gone for nukes. One of them is built, one of them is about to be built, and they want to end this game immediately, and they're not going to wait. They're just going to go full bore, just send it. You see the laser is going after the base here for space. And we do see that that Fat Boy, again, is just ripping apart all of those defenses. Artillery has been built, but I don't think it's been built realistically in enough time. You see that, again, this is the range. He's just, I think he's possibly ground firing it, so he's barely extending his range ever so slightly. You can see it's just kind of barely out of it. I mean, maybe it just looks that way. Then we do see that Space's artillery is about to be in range of that Fat Boy. Once it's in range, it's just going to light. There it is. The attack has been given. That Fat Boy is going to just receive pain in the form of some yellow dots across the map. I mean, there are actual artillery shells, but you know, I like to just say they're yellow dots because of the yellow dots on screen. And laser now going after. Oh, it could go after. It looks like it's going after some Mexes. Space underscores commander is exposed, but he can easily hide behind the shield. It's not really a big issue. Gunships move in, going after that Fat Boy. The shield has fallen, trying to go after the artillery, but the Ravager also barely comes in range or is in range as well. Fat Boy is going to die here. Unfortunately, ASF fight will happen. That Fat Boy is gone. ASFs are going to move in. Is going to be a huge air fight here. Looks like Team 2 Space Base has really pumped out his ASF force, and that actually might look like he has the advantage now. Book of Guns sitting at 82 overall, in Space sitting at 54. It just looks like a lot, I guess. And that 82 does not look like a lot for some reason. Don't know why. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't look as much as I think it is. But Nuke is halfway loaded here for Book of Guns. And the Colossus are reproducing. They're just like rabbits on the eastern side here. And it's 3 chickens as well. So these Colossus are reproducing and the chickens are reproducing. It's just how many pseudo rabbits can you build before the other person can build the same amount of pseudo rabbits or more. 3 Colossus will absolutely destroy 3 chickens. But unless that chicken could get in to the front of one or both 2 of these Colossus, that Ion Storm would be enough. And those Colossus will engage individually, at least right now. 3 chickens are going to engage 1 unit, which is definitely beneficial to separate your opponent and just take them out one by one. Of course, the Colossus is going to try to move in a little bit. Looks like he's trying to get closer, but you never want to get close to a chicken because of that Ion Storm. He's trying to, bob and weave against all of the amount of different fire that those chickens can output. 1 Colossus is down. 1 chicken is down. Second Colossus is taking a ton of damage, and offense are moving in as well. There is no support on the ground for those Colossus, and that second chicken is going to die, but pretty close to those 2 Colossus remaining. We do see that 3rd chicken is going to be enough with the Scorches moving in to intercept as well. Ion Storm will activate. Second Colossus is down. It's going to be close. It's going to be close, but it looks like the chicken will die with a little bit of support here from those units that have just moved in, but that Ion Storm has done a serious number to that Colossus. And the second one is engaging. All of those units moving into intercept are just evaporated. ASFs pressuring the ASFs from Team 1's Book of Guns. And that Nuke is almost loaded. How's the one looking here for Orb? It's a little over a third loaded. Looks like he switched is focused to just Fat Boy, Fat Boy, Fat Boy, Fat Boy, and then some Ras Boys, or even some Rambo Boys, one or the other. Blinn Chick getting a nice, additional T2, T3 army to support those Colossus, but that one's severely weakened. It does sitting at 2-star veterancy, so 120 pretty much 1,000 hit points max. Another one is online, and it's just Colossus all day for him. I don't know if he has an SMD. I don't even know if he knows about the nuke. But if that nuke lands on Blinn Chick's position, that's going to hurt. He does not know about it. Nuke is launching. And where is it going is the question. I mean, I would go for this base here for him. But it might go to the air base over here for Space. Space does not have an SMD. Definitely unfortunate. If he doesn't move, he's dead. And mass for Awasaw, please, says Lexicon. So Lexicon's going to go for that. It's almost done as well. And that nuke is outbound. That is not going to feel good here for Team 2's Space underscore. And there it goes. That comm is not moving. And he is going to go up in a blaze of glory. And, of course, as we always say on the cast, ka-boom! Dual explosions. Very pretty explosions. That's a confirmed kill for that book of guns. Sorry, not Bomber, but Nuke. Colossus pushes in with a ton of AA support and shields. Ton of gunships has been built as a defensive measure, so nice counter in terms of one way or the other. But that Awasaw Bomber is online. There are no more chickens remaining here for Team 1, so those Colossus have to get in the main base. Will be devastating. Bomb will land right underneath those broadswords, and it's going to kill all of them off. Ooh. Ooh, that's going to hurt. And it grabs the transport. That's never great to witness. Just immediately crushes it. Oh, what was that? Probably 20 or so broadswords that went up in smoke. That's gotta hurt. Where is that bomber going? Oh, it's right there. It just went over to the west. And it's gonna do it again. Oh, it might just do it again. Gunship's gonna get out of range now. They're like, we're not staying near that thing. Forget that. Colossus going to the main base here for Lexicon. Looks like he's gonna build just more pigeons, it looks like. And that Colossus will make it at least next to the T3 land headquarters. Second Colossus essentially just pristine, just right off the assembly line. ASF move in to protect that bomber. Bomber will get a nicely placed bomb. And that Colossus still is not dead. 2,000 hit points remain. And PD is being built to try to deal with that. And gunships have not moved in to claim or finish off the Colossus. There he goes. First one is down. Second one going after some pigeons. That's going to explode. All the PD are down. Another bomb going to land right behind that Colossus. Those ASF are protecting that thing with their lives as much as they can, just like those broadswords did, except wasn't the best environment for them. Nuke is almost loaded here for Orb, and again, it's now a 1v3 in favor of Team 1, with Blinn Chick being the last remaining player on Team 2, the red team. And we see some Ravagers being spammed to protect the air base here for Book of Guns. That bomber is doing what they can to reduce those hit points. Where is that bomb? Oh, he's up there. Okay, I see him. Nano Repair has been started. Advanced has been started here for Lexicon. And he's, it's right in the middle of his base. There he goes. Oh, there goes that T3. I think it was a T2 air headquarters. And his mechs is being taken offline as well as Book of Guns. This is a desperately needed win here for Blinn Chick. Except, again, it's a lot of mass on this eastern side of the map. And he's also reclaiming as he goes. And another Colossus is online. But, again, as a reminder, Team 2's last remaining player has all of the mass that his team was producing going into his coffers. He's able to direct that a lot better. It's just spam. It's just send everything. Send the nuke. They don't have a nuke, but, send the nuke, send the artillery, send the missiles, send the, the labs, send everything. It looks like the Awasaw has been taken out, but Team 2 does retain air control. Sorry, Team 1 retains air control. And SMD is falling offline. The nuke, which killed off 50,000 mass, is going to go down. There it goes. Ravager's barely in range now. Pigeons are going offline as well. And there it goes. The Colossus will be in the base here for Book of Guns. Another PD will go off. Sorry, another Pigeon will go offline. That Pigeon barely makes it. But there's just still a constant stream of units inbound from Blinn Chick. And we see in the west that Team 1's orb has cleansed any sort of presence from Team 2's orange color orange and ruby red player of Colonel Kenny and Space underscore. Essentially the same thing is happening on both sides of the map, except Team 2 is a little bit slower to the punch in terms of getting rid of everything on the other side of the map. They have a large line of PD to get through. And this is really just kind of switching the game on its head. It's almost like base trading, essentially. Except, obviously, Team 1 still has all of their commanders and Team 2 only has one left. But Ravage this says those Ravagers, I would assume. Lots of mass on the map. There's a Colossus trying to, again, get around it. You can see the orders to go east and then west. Avoid this, sorry, east and then north. Avoid this line of PD. We see that Team 1's Book of Guns like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm going to just intercept you. I don't care. There they go. There's, I like how there's just one just random hole there. Makes pathfinding annoying. Ravage is coming online here now. PGen, just at this point, just control CAD. It's right next to that line of PD. It's not really worth it. PGens are going offline here for Lexicon. He's essentially been knocked out of the game at this point. We see Team 1 units now shifting westward with forces outbound from Orb intercepting. SMD, is it loaded? Is it built? No, it's not. Oh. It's gonna load. Oh, it's gonna load. It's gonna load. There's no. Oh, well, if the. It's gonna be close. That nuke is inbound. That nuke is not. Oh. That nuke is gonna get shot down. Okay, I'm looking at the thing. It's made the turn. Does it fire? It doesn't. It's shot down. Just barely here for Team 2's Blinchik at 39 minutes on the clock. And this Colossus is tearing a hole in the resourcing options here for Book of Guns. Team 1's Eastern players have potentially been neutered at this point. And there, mass in comes Book of Guns at 172 and Lexicon at 33. Looks like the Colossus is going for blood. Those two comps are like, we are out of here. See you, bye. And it's going to be Orb just staring down the absolute horde of Fervors moving into his front line. Another Fat Boy is going to come online here pretty shortly. That's going to really assist with defensive measures, and that Fat Boy is going to add to that as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 Fat Boys online here for Team 1's Orb. 2 Colossus also to the west as well. Ravagers still keeping that air grid roughly protected, but I sense a flaw in the design. There is a Colossus behind the PD line, but those Ravagers are just nailing that Colossus. Look at that thing. Thousands of hit points going off of that experimental per second. Look at that thing. Look at those hit points. Just absolutely getting ravaged. Given the name, that would make sense. T3 Air Headquarters is still online somehow, but it's still online. Looks like it's now being targeted. We do see Ravagers dealing with the rest of these units on the eastern edge. It looks like most of those units have stopped for the time being. Spam, says Blinchik to himself and to his opponents. SMD is being hastily loaded once again. I don't blame him. And, of course, the Novak's going after all of the resourcing options here for Blinchik. Team 1 still in the lead, but that lead has dropped quite significantly. I thought those were missiles. I'm like, why are they all going for a nice little T2 Ascendant kind of caught in some environment? It's like, I can't. Can I get out of here, please? Like, can I please get out? He's having some troubles getting around that environment. T3 Air Headquarters does come offline, unfortunately. And I feel like Book of Guns definitely needs some T2 PD because the Ravagers, they're great for range, obviously. They have the most range of any PD in the game, but there's a lot of downtime with when the shots are fired again because, they do a burst and they wait, they reload and they do a burst. The Triad is definitely just point, shoot, wait, point, shoot, wait. It's like a machine gun versus a bolt action rifle. Essentially just one shot, reload, that sort of thing. Maybe it could be more of a semi-auto if you know about guns and talking about different types of whether it's a single shot or if it's a bolt action, which you can have a single shot and a bolt action, or you can have a bolt action where you have to actually just eject the casing every time. But Shield SACU online here is doing a pretty good job of protecting this Percy. It's sitting at 52. I didn't realize it was 52,000 shield. That's a lot of shield. I didn't even realize it was that much. But most of the T3, T4 units have now been redirected on the western side here for Orb. It essentially has switched from a 3v1 game to a 1v1 game between Blinchick of Team 2 and Team 1's Orb. That's essentially what's happened. But there are more ASFs still sitting here for Book of Guns, so he has one attack that he can do from the air. And there is more ASFs being built by Blinchick. And of course he's loading his SMD, which is about to load. Nuke is essentially being ignored at this point. More Fat Boys coming online here for Team 1's Orb. That's all he's doing is just pumping out Fat Boys. He's essentially making it impossible for land units to get anywhere close. And it does have a nice little AoE. It's not AoE because of so many shots that are fired. A lot of the spam units kind of just get one-tapped. You can see them just really struggling to get any sort of progress. And there's just getting to be a pretty close amount of critical mass Fat Boys. I was thinking of the word for a second. Looks like the Fat Boy over here was eventually killed off. But there's 4 Fat Boys over here, 5 Fat Boys online, and these Colossus really can't go anywhere. A lot of AA moving around here for Team 2's Blinchick, just trying to deal with any sort of maybe gunships that could spawn from Team 1. But Orb does have a T2 air facility online. It's pumping out T2 Stingers. Not great. It's something. It's not great, but it's something. I'm not a huge fan of Stingers. It's one of the only units that the UEF have that I really don't like. I mean, again, you have to have some, disadvantages. So, the T3 gunship, the best in my opinion, at least for air to ground, and then the Stinger, nah, that's not great. I don't think it's worse than the Restorer air to ground, but I think it's pretty close, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't go along with it. The Colossus is dancing. It's like, you will not kill me, I will dance, and I will try to avoid your shots, but yeah, Colossus can't really go anywhere when there's 3 Fat Boys and a bunch of Perseus just barreling it down its front door. The eastern attack has kind of fizzled out a little bit. Units on the eastern edge here kind of being bodied out by Triads and Ravagers as well. And Team 1 Bombers just being pumped out of whatever air facilities remain to deal with this. T3 air facility is back online, and Air Scouts over top just to see what's going on. And we do see that there are 2 Fat Boys for defensive measures, and it looks like it's just going to be carve a path east and then just carve a path west. Nuke is being fired at this. Looks like he's trying to outrange the SMD, which it's still going to be in range, to be fair. It is low. Oh, is it? No, it's going to load. If it loaded last time, it's going to load this time. I say that and then it doesn't load, but it's going to load. It's going to not load. Oh, it fires it, and it does hit. Oh, my goodness. What? What? Oh, that was unbearably close. That was probably very annoying for Orb. He's like, the nuke's going to land, the nuke's going to land, the nuke's going to land, and it doesn't land. What the heck? Very, very lucky here for Blinchick. Unfortunately, his forces in the west have been defeated, and he's being pushed back. His supply lines are going to slowly be cut, and he's kind of fizzling out on movement or momentum towards the north. More units being diverted from Orb's western attack to go to the east. Of course, the PD line protecting the rest of Book of Guns and Lexicon's forces and defenses. Gunships are coming in the back here for Orb to snipe at whatever he can. Again, they don't have a lot of air-to-ground weaponry, but again, 1,000 of anything will kill anything. T3 AA being spammed up as quickly as it can be. There's not really a lot in there. There's a couple of T2 flak cannons as well. But it looks like T3 air facility as well over here. Just a UEF one, just to have UEF tech. Which is nice to have, because they've lost Cyber Tech. I don't know if they have Cyber Tech anymore. I think it's 100% confirmed they don't have Cyber Tech. Unless there's an engineer hiding somewhere, which is entirely possible. But I don't think so. Fat Boys are barreling down the front door here for Blinchick. It's just not going to be great here for Team 2. He's held out for a very long time. He did a great attack, forcing essentially 2 comms out of position. Almost killed both of their bases off in one fell swoop. But Orb was just pumping out. He had a laser, which is nice to have just for dealing with some mass on the other side of the map. Nuke's great to have, and then he just pumped out Fat Boys. I think I know the MVP here for Team 1. I think so. And artillery is being built to try to counter the incoming Fat Boys, but now is Blinchick's eco doing. He has no mass in his bar. He has 24,000 power. He's trying to hold on. I mean, they are building those pretty quickly, but there's not a lot of firepower already there. FAF Warrior fire starting to rain in to around where the front line artillery, at least this one right here, is firing. All that has to happen is all the FAF Boys have to just kind of focus on one target and the shields go down. And all those engineers, all the PvE, all of the artillery just slowly collapsing. This eastern attack is gone. Mob-up operations have commenced for Team 1. And at this point in the game, we know where it's going. Blinchick notices what's going to happen and goes, I accept my fate. Come and take me. I'll take as many with you as I can. You see using that advanced range commander. He's like, come here, Percy's. Come here. Come engage me. Come on, you won't. Come here. Come here. Get back here. Overcharge kills off one of the Percy brethren. Percy's still holding back. And it looks like the order has been given to engage. It doesn't matter at this point. We see some Ilshis in the mix as well. And they're just going to throw whatever they have at the commander. The base is gone. At least some of it is. Blinchick's commander will survive just for a brief moment, I was going to say. And there he goes. The game is won by Team 1 at 48 minutes and 14 seconds on the clock. Team 1's orb gets the MVP award. If it was not for his FAF Boys, it wouldn't have been enough. I mean, Team 1 was starting to hold over here to the eastern side just with the remainder of Book of Guns and Lexicon's defenses and forces. But it was really just Orb that just full-sended it at Colonel Kenny Lee. He fell back, full-sended it again a little bit more after the death of Space with that nuke outbound from Book of Guns. It really just kind of disrupted activities for Team 2 on the western side. And then it was pretty close to Team 2 actually getting a nice two-prong attack going on down the middle, but it just wasn't enough. And then those FAF Boys were pumped out so very quickly that it really didn't matter at that point. But again, let me know down in the comments who you think MVP should be in this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to the end of the video. And I will see all of you in the next one.